In this video I'm going to answer some questions that will hopefully clear up some myths or some fogginess surrounding the whole idea of taking tonic herbs in the form of an extract, because there's an idea that's out there that people have that somehow processing plants or cooking plants or using some sort of extraction process is harmful and is less than ideal than just consuming the plant raw. So basically the belief is that all plants should be consumed in their raw state for the best effect. Now, this is true in some cases it's definitely not true. Obviously, if you're eating lettuce, if you're eating an orange, it's pretty much pointless to make a tea out of that or to make some sort of extraction out of it. If you're going to dig up a perennial root, a root that's growing over 8 to 10 years, there's no way you can eat that raw. If you're going to take some tree bark and you want to get the medicine out of it, in most cases there's no way you're going to be able to eat that raw. So just to get that whole paradigm shift out of the way, the first thing that I want to say is that heat and cooking is a tool, is a technology, is a process that has useful applications in many different ways. To assume that it's bad all the time is somewhat silly, and it's not really true, and to have such an absolute or either or kind of mentality is limiting and is basically a hindrance. So the first question is, why are active constituents available through some sort of extraction process, and how does cooking free this up? Well, basically, for example, things like reishi mushroom or things like ginseng or things like, let's say, hoshu, things that are very dense and fibrous, you can't really eat that. Sure, you can take it and powder it down very fine and physically, masticate it and swallow it, but the active constituents that we want are so bound up in the cell wall, they're so in such a tough fibrous shell that we can't really break that down and get enough out of it. So we need some sort of extraction process, whether it's a tea or a tincture or some sort of more advanced, more high potency, more effective concentrated extraction process that can basically take a whole lot of herb and concentrate it down into a very small amount of fine, easily absorbable, easily digestible powder. So having some sort of extraction process is beneficial in two ways. For one, it can allow us to actually get access to the active constituents so that we can actually get the benefit out of the herb. Two, it can concentrate those constituents in such a way that we can take a small amount and get a good effect. So, if we don't have a concentrated herb, we're going to have to make a tea, we're going to have to make a tincture, or if we're going to want to eat it, we're going to have to eat a whole bunch just to get the effect. Now, this could be a burden on the digestive system, it could fill up our belly, it could cause indigestion, all these different things. So the most ideal way is to basically get all of the goodies out of it through some sort of extraction process, separate all of the, just the chitin or the cellulose or all of the fiber that's going to basically get in the way and impede the process, separate that off so that we're left with a very fine product that can allow us to, one, experience the benefits and the magic that this herb has to offer in a small space at a great price and in a way that's actually going to allow us to get the effect that we're after, which is the whole point. The whole point of taking herbs isn't to practice a dogma or practice a belief, it's to get the effect that the herb has. Now, if there's one path that's going to get the better result and it makes more sense, it's more economical, it's more efficient, then we need to take that. So the second or I guess the third is consuming a raw herb or a raw root or a raw mushroom basically pointless? And the answer is most of the time yes. Now, obviously there are some exceptions to this. If you have schizandra berries, sure, you can snack on a few schizandra berries and get some benefit. If you have some goji berries, sure, you can snack on it and get some benefit. If you have a ginseng root that's mildly fresh or an asparagus root that's mildly fresh, you can chew on it and eat it and masticate it and feel some effect from it. But to do this every day over the long term, it's going to be kind of a burden, it's going to be kind of a hindrance. But if you're going to want to take some cordyceps, which you basically can't get in its raw form, in its whole form, and you want to, reishi mushroom, hoshu, all of these things, basically eating those raw is pointless and sometimes can just be more of a hindrance than a help. Because it's so fibrous, because it's so dense, you're not really going to be able to get much out of it. And the idea that raw is better or less processed is better is not really applicable to this situation. This situation is more well suited for some sort of intelligent, harmonious technology that's going to free up all of the goodness, all of the magic out of the herb and maintain all of the the essence, all of the potency, all of the active compounds in the herb in a way that's easy to digest and is economical and is actually potent and effective. So hopefully that clears up some myths, some ideologies, some paradigms, some questions that have been floating around about the whole idea of tonic herbs and the best ways to take them, the best forms to take them, which forms are better than others, and just a lot of things that people often wonder. I know I wondered for a long time, and as I worked through my whole process, I just basically concluded and experienced that most of the herbs are best in a powdered concentrated extract form. Some herbs you can make an excellent tincture out of and get a great effect. Some herbs you can make an excellent tea out of and get a great effect. But usually the powdered concentrated herb is the best way to go. It's the best way I've had the most results. It's the quickest, the easiest, and generally the most economical because you're able to get so much in such a small amount of space, which allows you to take less and get more of the effect. So, if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.